Hello everyone. Since our group managed to get the Senekta S run yesterday, I thought it would be a good idea to make a video where I go over the boss fight and explain the boss's abilities and how you can handle them. Before we go into that, we have a cleric kiting the storms in the back. Our chanter gets the mace to dispel the people who get frozen. And we have two sorcerers doing the right Pelida and one sorcerer using the orb soloing the left Pelida. So yeah. The boss has 4 phases, or 4, let's call them skill rotations. The first phase is from 100% to 75%, the second phase is from 75 to 50, the third phase is from 50 to 25, and the last phase is from 25 to 0%. So from 75% onwards, the phases get initiated or started with the spell Raging Scream, so you should pay attention to that spell when you're in the instance, so you know, okay, he's gonna do the new skill rotation now. I'm gonna write the skill rotation in the description with the timings, so if you're curious about that, you can look after the video. Yeah. Frosty Fire is the first skill which he uses. It's just a spell on a random target, and it deals damage to the target and to everyone around them, but the cleric should be able to heal it. He just uses it throughout the boss fight, and yeah, you don't really need to pay too much attention to that. He sometimes spawns adds, and you should try to position yourself so you can AoE the adds and hit the boss. There's the next spell, Summon Storm. It's a really important skill. When the cast ends, you have 2 to 3 seconds, then on a random target in the room, the storm spawns. If anyone attacks the storm, he gets some aggro and gets frozen if the storm is close to him. The freeze is not dispellable for regular clerics and lasts for 1 minute, so you should really avoid getting close to them or hitting them accidentally. That's why we have a cleric pulling them back out of the group. I'm gonna link a video on that in the description which explains quite well how to kite them. We use no AoEs while the storm spawns. Yeah. Impact is the next skill. It's just a zone on the ground, as you can see. If you're standing in the zone, you continuously get damage, and it ramps up to one huge hit at the end, which can one-shot you, so you should just run out of it to the right or to the left as soon as possible. The tricky part is that not everyone can see it, so you really have to call it out to everybody where it is. When this message appears, the Pelida appear on the left and the right plateau. You have to walk up a small path. It's like a bit twisted, but yeah, when that happens, Normie goes to the left one and Sokusa and Valvrage to the right one. Except for in the first 25%, because if you don't have enough damage to reach 75% before the second impact comes, you get an energy toll. So after the second impact is always an energy toll in the first 25%. If you see that you don't have enough damage, the people who do the Pelida wait. They go back and wait out the energy toll. I'm gonna explain energy toll as soon as we get it later. So yeah, that's something you have to pay attention to in the first 25%. Also, as long as the Pelidas are alive, the boss deals more damage and takes less damage. Here's the second impact, but we reach 75% before he can start casting Energy Toll. So here's the first Raging Scream, which initiates the next phase or the next skill rotation, however you wanna call it. It's just a dot which ticks down for 30 seconds. It's not dispellable and it does some damage. Between 75% and 50%, it's always the same. It's always Raging Scream, capture, capture, Curtain of Reflection, capture, capture, Curtain of Reflection. He also spawns storms, but now he doesn't spawn one but two at a time. There's the first capture. Capture pulls everyone close to the boss and gives you a debuff which deals a lot of damage. Everybody should stay as close to the boss as possible. 10 meters can be okay too, but as the closer you are, the shorter is the pull animation, and the clerics have to dispel the debuff you get because it deals massive damage, as you can see. The capture deals massive damage and the debuff you get afterwards. You can also pot the debuff, and I'd advise to use pots, greater healing potions, to pot the debuff, because if your cleric is in freeze or dead, he cannot dispel and you die. That's very important. Also, another thing I have to add: 4 seconds before capture comes, people in your alliance get a debuff randomly. So we call it magma. After 7 seconds it explodes. It will explode simultaneously with the capture pulling you, and 3 to 4 people around you get a lot of damage. So we send the people who get this debuff halfway up to the Pelida, so they don't get pulled and can't train anyone with the ability. Because if you train someone and together with the capture damage, you most of the time just die, and when 7 or 8 people are dead, it's just a lot of damage that misses for some time. There's Summon Storm. Occasionally the boss still does an impact, and of course you walk out of it. And another capture. Of course, as the Jotun eyes from time to time turn around, hit the ads to get them aggro, so the cleric only has to heal one target and not different ones. And since the Jotun kill tanks a lot more than the regular players in the alliance, it's pretty good if you tank the ads. Curtain of Reflection is the next spell. It's pretty self-explanatory. After the cast is through, he gets a shield for 15 seconds. It's not a shield, but you can damage them, but if you damage the boss, you get the damage reflected back onto you, so you can kill yourself quite easily. In that time you want to kill all the ads, and your other attacks and other AoE classes should turn around and away from the boss so they don't accidentally kill themselves. It's also really important that you, I'm gonna write down the timers later, but if you go through the phases relatively quickly, you can skip certain storm spawns, and you want to keep the storms spawn count as low as possible. At the end, if you do it correctly, you should only have 5 storms, and they are quite manageable. Also, if our cleric happens to be in freeze or to die, we have a substitute which jumps in to help with the storms. For us it's our ranger, so you should also assign that job to someone. Raging Scream. So for the 50% phase to 25% phase, he always does Raging Scream, and after 10 seconds there comes the first capture, and then he just keeps spamming capture until 25%. Occasionally he spawns mines. It's called Summon Ice Quartz, and they spawn somewhere in the room. If they are close to your alliance, you should run there and clear them as the Jotun or the AoE classes, because after a certain amount of time those explode and deal massive damage and can wipe the whole alliance if they are in an unlucky spot. So you should pay attention to that, but it's not something you would time like capture. Also, at 50% you spawn cannons in the back, which you can use after you have collected the cannonballs in the previous part of the instance. We always use, I think, 2 to 3 in order to not get too many storms, because after 25% the boss stops spawning storms, and the other ones we don't use. The other cannonballs we don't use, we use for the last 25%. There's Summon Ice Quartz, as you can see. I go to the mines, clear them, go back. If they spawn somewhere on the way up to the Pelida, I don't clear them because they are not a threat to your alliance. Yeah. After Raging Scream, in the last 25%, the boss always does Raging Scream, Energy Toll, then Capture, then a Curtain of Reflection, then another Energy Toll, Capture, Curtain of Reflection, and so on. The Energy Toll always comes after 6 to 8 seconds, after he has casted Raging Scream, so you tell everyone to go back to the Jotun in order to not get hit by Energy Toll. Energy Toll hits everywhere in the room except in a zone in the back of the room. It's like this big or something, and there spawns a Jotun which casts a protective shield. Usually you have like a snowstorm like animation while the cast comes, but I have disabled the effects so I can see everything in the boss room more clearly. Also, while Energy Toll is casting and everyone is standing in the back, they try to kill the ads, and we do the same in the front. There's the Energy Toll. And if you're not in the back when Energy Toll happens, you die. It just kills you with 2 ticks. Clearing the mages there because I don't want them to stack up too much. We are not trying to risk a lot. You can also just wait for a Curtain of Reflection, but sometimes it's just better if there are 3 to 4 mages or even 5 to just clear them quickly with the other tags together. Here you can see that I'm very careful with hitting the mines because there was a storm passing by. Yes, and that's basically it. That's all for the boss fight. Also, when the boss dies, There is another boss, a small boss, which is Dying Ereshkigal, and he has a shield for 1 minute and 5 seconds. And after the 1 minute and 5 seconds, you can kill it in like 3 seconds, and then the timer stops. If you happen to kill the boss and get the Dying Ereshkigal with less time than 1 minute and 5 seconds, you will fail the run and not get any loot. So yeah. Let me quickly skip ahead so you can see how it looks like when he dies. 1 second. So yeah, he dies in like 3 seconds, and then the timer stops and you can loot as long as you want. If you have any questions, just write them in the description. I will try to answer them.